Okay, Joe Diomede here once again, the Mumbro Market. And as life does, it brings you interesting people crossing your path all the time. As long as you're open to it, you can't help but meet interesting people. And sitting right next to me is one of those, Steve Shehan, or Shehan, however you want to pronounce it. And an American, another American living in France. And he opted out quite a few years ago, like myself. And he's played some music with an interesting list of people, from Paul Simon to Bob Dylan to who else there, Steve?
Oh, Peter Gabriel or Paul McCartney a couple of times. Leonard Bernstein, Nitin Soni, a great English Indian musician. A lot of people.
Okay, so we got, again, musicians keep getting drawn into my interviews here, which is always good because they're very interesting people, move around the world. So how did you wind up? Virginia born, you said you grew up in the Florida Keys and then wound up on the outskirts of Paris. Tell me a little about that.
Well, I was adopted when I was 10, so by a French family that took me to France. Unfortunately, they grabbed me. It's a long story, but they took me to France without the paperwork. So at the age of 15, I got kicked out of France. Thank you. So I went rambling around Europe, Turkey, Afghanistan, places like this. On my way back to Europe, I ended up in Denmark, but it was le marché européen, the European market still, so I couldn't be legal. So I went to Sweden, and Sweden accepted Americans, and I suddenly became legal, and that was great. So I spent 6 years in Sweden. I loved it. Did a lot of different jobs and started music seriously. So I started playing with everyone in Sweden basically. And then someone called me from France and said, "Do you want to come and play in France with some great musicians?" And I said, "Yeah, why not?" So I ended up in Paris for 2 weeks. I ended up staying 35 years. That's about, more or less, because meanwhile I lived in LA, New York, Barcelona, different places, Lisbon. But yeah, I like France, I like the culture, I like being in Europe, it's close to places I like. So that's how I ended up here, and I have a nice place, and very happy.
Wow, and how did you meet, so how did you wind up playing with Paul, the big names from France, Sweden? How did that happen?
They called me, they heard my records. I've been doing, so far I'm like 25 records on my own.
Under Steve Shehan?
Yeah, under my name. And also I played with Salif Keita, Youssou N'Dour, people like this. They call me from Africa, from India, from wherever. In France, I did the whole French thing I did. I played with them, all the famous, Yves Montand, France Gall, Véronique Sanson, etc. And I don't know why, but people heard my music somehow, and they called me because they wanted me to bring my taste or my flavors to them. That's how Paul Simon. He called me. I thought it was a joke. I thought I was being framed. So I said, "Oh yeah, you're Paul Simon. I'm Mona Lisa." And the guy was really sweet. Said, "No, I'm really Paul Simon." And I go, "Oops, I'm sorry." And the next day, I had a plane ticket to New York, and I met him, and he said, "Well, I like this record. I would like you to help me arrange this music the way you do." And it was actually some records with the Tuareg. I spent 20 years in Northern Africa working with the Tuaregs and all those places. So I said, yeah, why not? Because I knew I was going to learn a lot being back in the States, have a nice job. And Paul is a very gentle person. I really like him. We became friends. And that's the way it went. People call me. I've never looked for jobs or I want to play with someone. That's the miracle of music, I think.
Yeah.
Somehow someone hears you, and there you go. And it was before internet, so it was quite.
You don't need the internet. Your music is your trade. We keep on saying musician. Specific instrument?
Well, all those years I'm a percussionist basically, but I'm a composer. So I write on piano. I have some records coming out soon as a pianist, but I'm a bass player also, a drummer. But really, my main path was around the percussion. African, Middle East, Balinese, jazz.
Right.
American, percussion.
Okay, cool.
It's a great vector. Percussion, you can take a table or a chair and start playing. It's a great way to meet people. Even without knowing the language, you just grab Matchbox and you can play with people around you. That's wonderful. That's the way I felt when I was 20. I said, how can I go around? How can I easily, without carrying, tons of stuff? Percussion was a great way to do it.
Yeah, and the cajon, that's why the cajon's a great thing.
Exactly. Cajon is like a share in terms of sound, That's the way it went, On a box, a shoe box, you can start playing,
Yeah.
So that's the way it went.
Yeah.
I started going, to Brazil, to Indonesia, to all those places, learning, catching things. My thing is about taste, how to, architecture and taste in how you place your instrument, how you swing them. That's my approach, and that's why probably people call me like, Yusundur. Why would he call me? I mean, you shake the tree. I mean, it's nickel of a dozen in Africa. I mean, the guys are really masters. So why would he call me? Because of my taste, because of my way of approaching and respecting their music. Not trying to be what I'm not. I will never be an African or Indonesian or a Balinese. Right. But I'm honest about it, and so there's something else going on, and it's my taste.
Right, excellent.
And I like it this way.
Yeah. And it's given you a great life. I mean,
I'm thankful every day. I'm thankful. We're alive. I'm alive. Right. This is like a miracle. And then I meet people like you, and I'm in this market. It's wonderful. South of France in the summertime, man. It's a dream. It's a dream. It's great. Right. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, cool. I mean, and that's the wonder. That's the wonder of life and travel. Like we were speaking before off camera. There's so much to do and there's so much to see in this world, and traveling and meeting people and being open. Exactly. The party where we met last night. I mean, how wonderful.
Yeah, amazing. And it's always something to learn. I mean, we're students, and the more we know, the more we know we don't know a lot. And that's great because then I'm really looking forward to new lessons and new persons I meet or whatever.
And that's the beauty. Again, people think, the internet. I mean, my wife built a bread oven. Yeah. Marco heard that she built a bread oven, came to our house to see the bread oven, invited us to a party, and here we are.
I love this story, but it's great. Yeah, he told me, and actually, you guys really helped him. You saved him. His oven really was saved by you. That's wonderful. Yeah. And then we had this birthday and brought some music with my Tibetan balls, and there we, starting martial arts with the balls. I mean, everything has a reason, and it's great. It's great.
Steve, great. I mean, what a great story. The wide world web of life.
Yeah.
And that's what, we have to show those young people out there. Yeah. There's other ways. I mean, of course, and...
Of course. I mean, it's just looking, being conscious, enjoying each moment and sharing. Yeah. I mean, it's really, I know it sounds stupid, but it's love.
Yeah.
Just love, it helps, and it's a good way to learn, anyways, and we're learning.
Yeah.
Not always fast learners, but we're here.
We're all, that's it. We can only do that. We can only just go on and just take every day and just go, okay, what's next? What's out there?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And when I look at your book, man, oh, wow, there's so much to learn in your book. Yeah. I bow to your journey. I mean, and what you guys are doing is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's all the journey. It's all a shared journey. And thank you for sharing part of your journey on this interview. Steve Shehan, Joe Diomede, Telly Montbron, sitting here, beautiful Montbron Market. And what else could I say? Thank you.
Take care. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Bye.
Friends. Bye-bye.
See ya.